Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is Mario, your host. First and foremost, thank God for another day. It's Tuesday. At least it's not Monday anymore. Yesterday it was a hot day. I tried to make a video on my way uh, home from work, and it didn't work out. Why? Because it was hotter than the devil's armpits in Central Texas. The real feel got to, I think it was 110 by 3:30 when I got out of work. I sent a screenshot of my weather app yesterday. It was 6 something and it was still 103, I think, 104. So it's been hot. So what happened, I started recording on my way home, and like 15 minutes in, my phone just said it's overheating and it stopped recording. My video pretty much ended up being corrupted. I could not use it because what I was gonna do, I was hopefully gonna, or what I wanted to do was to continue once I got to the house, but the video wasn't good. So anyway, um, I just want to thank y'all. As you guys saw my post yesterday, we hit over 500 subscribers yesterday. Uh, I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate everybody's, just willingness to watch and listen. You know, like Bubba says, I don't understand why somebody would like to, you know, watch me sometimes ramble and get confused. And in my case, like a lot of times I get confused even, uh, like speaking, because of my you know English being my second language and all that other stuff. So somebody asked me, like, do you think in Spanish or do you think in English? Well, a lot of things, like things that I've learned in English, I think in English. But if it's like fundamental stuff, a lot of times I I think in Spanish and I'm live translating into English, if that makes any sense. And then translation's not the only thing, because then you, like for me, pronunciation and annotation and all these things that the English language has, like I have to, some people say, man, Mario, you don't even have an accent. Well, because when I was going to school, I listened to my ESL teachers about pronunciation and all that other stuff. So yeah, I don't have, that heavy, not that there's anything wrong with it. Uh, Obviously, I'm not gonna just willingly talk in, crazy Mexican accent, because I could. I think it's funny sometimes, because it does come out like that sometimes. But anyway, um, I yeah. So it's a process, y'all. It's a process for this Mexican man to be talking in the front of this camera. Um, so anyway, uh, yeah. Going back to this, see, there I go, squirrel. Um, Thank you so much for everybody that has subscribed. Thank you very much for everybody that has, comments there. I mean, I have like constant people. Uh, I already know who's actually watching, and I get it. A lot of people, and I do the same thing with all the subscriptions that I have. I watch, I like, I share, but there's times that you can't comment on everything. Like even driving to work, I drive about 25-30 minutes to work. I drive 25-30 minutes back. So I'll watch some stuff. So obviously I'm driving, and I'm not going to say I watch, but I listen mostly. So I can't comment on every single thing. So I get it. And some people like James Out, Seppi Dog. I know he likes to lurk on videos and chats. I get it. Some people are very, very introverted. Let me close these windows because that was part of my problem yesterday too. Uh, the audio wasn't all that. But I appreciate everybody because I mean it's still over 500 of y'all. Because I think yesterday, the last time I checked, we were like at 503, 504. So it's over 500 people that even if they just glance at a short and like it, everything's appreciated. Every interaction, every share, every comment, every time you watch, you interact, or you hit me up on Instagram or Facebook, which my Facebook just blew up with a bunch of random people that I don't really know. Because I don't really have like a, what do you call it? Creator profile on Facebook. I tried to do that and it got confusing really, really fast. It was either you have a professional Facebook or you have a personal Facebook page or whatever. So I just left it alone. I mean, if you guys hit me up, a lot of people have friended me on Facebook. All you're gonna see is my kids' pictures and church stuff because that's what I post on my personal Facebook. So either Bible verses or things that I'm reading right there and then. Very seldom do I post knife stuff. Usually I'll share my story from Instagram to Facebook. Why is this guy going 45 miles an hour on a 65 mile zone? Get off the phone, buddy. Be like me. Talk to the phone. Don't be on the phone. He's on the phone. He's straight up scrolling on his phone. That's pretty bad. Anyways, so yeah, if you hit me up on Facebook and request to be my friend, I'll accept you. I do have my Instagram page where I post like all of my. Right now, it's weekly carries, and then I'll highlight a item from my carry for the week. It was too much. I was literally spending either the night before or the day of like 15, 20, 30 minutes trying to choose what I was going to carry. I was like, man, I don't have time for that. So now Saturday night, I go through my stuff that I haven't carried, stuff that that it's just been in my little, storage or whatever. So I've been trying to alternate a lot more things into my carry for the week that way. And I'll tell you what, one thing that has spoken to me, and I was telling some of the guys, I forget the gentleman's name or the Instagram page, but there's a brother on Instagram that shared, I think it was over the weekend maybe, that he's going to start giving away a lot of his collection. And he said, he goes, whether it's giving away my collection in live, or obviously, he goes, I'll be giving away my collection in death. Now, he's got GCs, he's got a lot, he's got a really, really nice collection. So he's doing a giveaway on Instagram. And that kind of spoke to me because unbeknownst to me, or me not knowingly or not willingly wanting to be this way, I have been in the past year, because I've only been collecting for the past year, and I don't even call it collecting because it's not like high-end items or anything like that. It's budget, vintage, used stuff that I buy for essentially pennies on the dollar of what goes on eBay. I've made very few eBay purchases, but anyway, I've been very, very selfish, and it's, look at what I have, look at what I found, look at everything. And we've been talking at church about, miracles, financial miracles, physical like medical healings and miracles like that. And a lot of times, and this is, you know, not for you to know, or for me to know and for you to find out or anything like that. But this economy sucks, And having 4 kids, granted, yes, I chose to have my kids. Both my wife and I chose to have 4 kids. We didn't want to have no family or a small family. We wanted our family to be full of laughter, full of fun, whether it was with money, without money, we chose that. But this economy doesn't help. And some financial choices that we've made don't help either. Anyway, I haven't, I started getting greedy with what I was finding. I started getting almost selfish with what I have. It's like, it's mine. Look at what I have. And that's not what I want this channel to be. I don't want it to be, let me show off or let me show what I have. And I know that there's people that are in a worse financial situation than I am, that cannot go out on a knife hunt. And it's almost like you watch Knife Doctor. He'll go and drop $150, $300, $500, on a knife haul. I can't do that. Granted, he's in a better financial situation than I am. His channel is booming and, all that good stuff. I love it because he's the one that got me to start remembering my grandpa, at the kitchen table, sharpening his lip joint knife. I don't know what it was. I wish I would have been more interested in my grandpa's stuff. I know he had a bunch of like carbon steel butcher knives because he was a butcher by trade. Even as he was older and he was a pastor on the everybody knows that pastoring is not a full-time job for the most part, unless you have like a huge I don't like calling them mega churches, even though they are, but unless you have a large congregation, you don't make a living being a preacher or a pastor. So on the weekends, my grandpa would butcher livestock for people, whether it was a cow, pig, sheep, goats, chickens, anything. The neighbors would bring a chicken and my grandpa would kill it, butcher it, clean it up for them, and give it to them ready for chicken soup or fried chicken or whatever. Same thing with a goat, and sometimes he wouldn't even take payment. He would take a portion as payment for his work, because it was essentially bringing food to the table. So I wish that back in those days, back in the 80s when I was growing up in Mexico, I would have been more interested in his stuff. And I say his stuff and not my dad, because my dad was a city slicker. We lived out in the country, but my dad went to work in the city every day. So he was raised in the city. He was used to living in the city. And then when my mom and him got married, they moved out to the country, which is where I grew up with my grandparents. So, but yeah, going back to what I was saying, become selfish, become all kinds of things. And one thing that opened my eyes about this 500 subscriber giveaway, yes, I think that's the key of growing your channel faster. But to me, it's almost like a satisfaction. It's like, hey, I went to Bass Pro / Cabela's some months back and I found this knife and I carried it for a couple of times and it's not my jam. Guess what? It doesn't have to stay in my storage just because I bought it and I didn't like it. Somebody else could use it. Somebody else could maybe that they don't have a Bass Pro around. I know there's a lot of people in the comments. They're like, oh yeah, the closest, which I was there when I lived in Florida, our closest Walmart was about 25, 30 miles away because we lived out in the boonies. Central, southwestern Texas, southwest Florida. Florida, not Texas. Oh my gosh. So anyway, yeah, so why be selfish with your stuff if it's just sitting there and you don't really, if it's something that you don't like, somebody else could take, advantage of it or use it or carry it. Why not? There's a lot of knives. So I was telling the guys, so after I saw this post and after all this stuff that I've been, listening to our pastor preach about, being generous, one of the things that we went over this Sunday, which is one of our church's mottos, being a people of open palms and not clenched fists, because everything that we have is God's anyway, right? So how can you receive a blessing when your fists are clenched like this? How can you grab it? You can't. And it's like he said, he goes, sometimes you have to have those palms open. He goes, and things are gonna be taken away, given away, or sometimes even stolen away, which I had never thought about that. But anyway, so going back to that, we're gonna be seeing a lot of more giveaways. A lot of the people that have brothers in the knife community and other YouTubers that have sent me stuff, expect something in the mail from me. It may not be right now, because again, I'm on a budget. I got things to pay off, but be ready to receive something from me. Anybody, I know Brother Dennis Whipple, when I first started my channel, I'm gonna be sending you something, brother. And I had been thinking about it, because you had brought it up when I showed this particular knife off, and I remember you saying, man, if you ever trade that off or anything like that, I would like first opportunity. So and I know there's a lot of knives that I show off that people always are like, dibs or whatever. So expect some stuff from me, y'all. I'll be this afternoon. I came this afternoon. Tomorrow night, I just bought some stamps. I just bought some envelopes and some thank you cards. So I'm gonna be starting sending stickers out. That's at the very minimum, that's what you're gonna be getting for those that I have your address of. And as long as I don't run out of stickers, because I did go back to my, if you guys can see on my channel, I went back to my OG logo, since those are the stickers that I have. I want to share those with y'all. So anyway, guys, I just got to work. I want to thank you, every single one of you, for liking, for subscribing, for commenting. I appreciate it. It's very, 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 it makes me feel good. It makes me feel happy. When I saw that 500 and I started seeing comments, hey man, congrats on 500. Man, I was happy at work. And that's not that I'm not happy at work, but it's been busy with the start of the school year and everything. So anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Expect a few more videos this week, if not by the weekend. Like I said, it's been a busy week. We have a men's conference. For all of you that are men of faith, women of faith, y'all pray for our church. We're having a men's conference this weekend. I was asked to be one of 3 men to give a testimony. So y'all pray. I had asked some of the brothers in some of the groups that I know are, believers and everything. Pray for me. that what God revealed for me to share will impact people. I'm nobody. I'm just a man, a flawed man that fights every single day to be better. And I still fall. You know, we all fall every single day, sometimes multiple times a day. But it's not like my mama used to say, if you were out in the store and you fell, and it's obviously as long as you weren't really hurt, but if you fell in the store, would you just sit there or would you get right up so that nobody saw you or made fun of you or anything like that? So that's what we try to do every single day. Even though we fall, even though we fail God sometimes, um, we got to get up, y'all. We got to keep going. So anyway, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And don't forget, as we always say, be somebody's light today, so that we show what a mighty God we serve. God bless.